on enhanced survivability for dedicated instance. Very happy to be joined from two of our esteemed colleagues from the business unit who are going to take us through the content for today. Just to give you guys, and I know we say this every time, but we do get new joiners every time, so hopefully this is at least some new content for some people. We have 3 different tracks of information for you guys to attend our sessions: go to market, sales updates, and technical updates, of which this is a technical session. So the idea is that you guys attend the right sessions and don't waste your time in sessions that maybe aren't as relevant to you as some of the others. So it's really designed to target the right personas of you guys within the partners, so that you have the right information in front of you at the right time. So we also have a Slido running today, so you should see that pop up in the app, and that's open for you. So yeah, if you can give us some feedback, the guys here have asked for some feedback for the feature that we're going to be discussing. So it's open, you don't have to do it immediately, do it throughout the session, maybe do it at the end, it will be open for a while. The link has been put in the chat and the poll has been open within the application as well. In terms of where we're at for July, as you know, we're nearing our financial year end, so we do finish delivering sessions next week for you, so you guys can finish closing those deals for us. So grateful for that as we enter into the end of our fiscal year. We've had some really great sessions already this month. So we had the realigning on the collaboration priorities. We did the Cisco Live 2023 recap, where we introduced reintroduced, I should say, the Bar Pro, some of the new features and functions that we're bringing out across our top 3 priorities. We had the WebEx Suite 43.7 update. And of course, we had the devices update early this morning. And now we're going to talk about the enhanced survivability for DI piece. So next week we have the contact center on-premise update, which is one of the key asks that you guys gave us off the back of the on-premise update we did maybe a month or 2 ago. So hopefully you're going to enjoy that session. And then we finish our year with Call Cabinet, who are one of our new WebEx calling ecosystem partners who deliver voice recording for actually all of our platforms, but also WebEx calling, where we've opened up that API. So lots of great content for you guys to jump in. The link to register for any of these sessions is that one at the top right-hand corner. And we'll put that in the chat window for you shortly so you can deliver it that way. We've also just finished our Collabrox World Tour for 2023, where we did a huge number of cities live, 14 locations live, delivering updates on Microsoft Interop from a devices perspective. We also talked about the WebEx Suite and WebEx calling updates that we have there. And of course, we did do a live session that was recorded for you as well, which is in the process of being uploaded to Sales Connect. Mara, I'm looking for you to nod. It's on Sales Connect, or it's coming shortly?
Coming shortly.
Awesome. So that content will be available for you on Sales Connect very shortly as well. If you would like to join us in any of our spaces that we have, we use these channels to publish the latest information to you, remind you of upcoming events. So if you want to join us in any of those channels, then please feel free. We'll pop those links into the chat window, but at the same time, hopefully I've been waffling on long enough for you guys to grab your phones, open up the camera application, scan the QR code, and of course you have WebEx on your mobile device that will take you straight into those spaces and join us there as well. And hopefully that was long enough to enable you to do that. We also have the partner monthly news list on our Socio, on our WebEx events platform. So if you are in that community, you can again join up, and we'll post that link. And we just try and publish articles into there, or top of minds for yourselves as well. So there's many ways for you guys to stay in contact with us and what we're doing. For today's event, you can see our list of speakers. So I'm Mara, apparently, for the day. We also have Salini joining us, and we have Parvatharan, and I say that terribly, I'm really sorry, who's going to be taking us through the main content for today. So with that, I'm going to hand over. Good afternoon and welcome to the session, Parthan. Floor is yours. You're on mute, buddy. Oh, there you go.
Thanks, David.
Yeah. Hello all, my name is Pavitran and I have Salini along with me. We are from the WebEx Calling Dedicated Instance Product Management team, and we are going to talk about a feature which provides complete failover on-premise during a cloud outage. This capability is currently not provided by any other cloud calling vendors in the market today, which makes this feature enhanced reliability a market differentiator for Cisco WebEx Calling. So, as we all know, SRST has been there for a while in on-premise deployments, and we also support the same in dedicated instance. But it comes with its own limitations, such as access to all calling features during failover, and has limitations on number of registration it supports. This makes it difficult for business-critical customers in verticals like healthcare, financial services to move to the cloud, where they require comprehensive redundancy options. Uh, this feature enhancer reliability provides that comprehensive redundancy, which means it can handle all calling features. And not only that, it also provides the failover of the third-party integrations during an outage. Now, let me talk about the solution overview. So here the enhanced reliability node will be deployed in the customer site and connects to the dedicated instance cluster over the existing peering link. The enhanced survivability node is similar to the UCM subscriber node, and it syncs to the publisher on a periodic basis um, during the normal functioning of the UCM cluster. So during a full outage or connectivity loss from the customer site to the dedicated instance cloud, all the devices in that site can fail over to the enhanced reliability node. During the failover, all the calling features supported by a normal UCM subscriber will also be supported by the enhanced reliability node. In addition to the calling features, the enhanced reliability node also preserves the third-party tool integrations that uses SIP and CTI. So now, each enhanced reliability node basically can support up to 7,500 devices registration. We have capped the registrations to 7,500 because in addition to the device registrations and call control, the enhanced survivability node also runs other services such as TFTP, CTI, MOH during the failover, which generally is provided by other dedicated nodes like the TFTP or MOH subscriber nodes in a normal functioning UCM cluster. Due to this additional load, we have capped the enhanced reliability node to be capped at 7,500 devices. Now, we have made some significant enhancements to the way the call manager database sync works for this feature, but still we have to limit the number of enhanced reliability nodes that can be added to a call manager cluster to 8. The enhanced reliability node even though it's deployed in the customer's premise, the maintenance and management of this is basically handled by Cisco. What do I mean by management is basically the upgrades, the certificate management, licensing, all is managed by Cisco. And of course, there should be some level of help that is required from the customer as well, because the node will be deployed in their premise and they'll have access to the node, and we would require some help there. Now, coming to the final point, the enhanced survivability is supported only on TI regions with partner or edge connectivity peering models. This is purely because of the bandwidth requirements needed for the database sync between the publisher and the enhanced reliability node. And also the QoS is better with these two peering models, where we don't really want to support with VPN, where the QoS is not good. Now going to the next slide. How does the enhanced reliability work? In general, dedicated instance subscribers are deployed across 2 data centers within a region. This provides a redundancy, right? And now we give the additional capability of an enhanced reliability node, which is deployed at the customer site for additional failover capability when the devices are not able to reach either of the subscribers in the DI cloud. So for those devices to fail over in the right order, the call manager group to which the devices are associated to needs to be configured correctly. So we, Cisco, basically recommend that the node 1 and 2 in the call manager group to be the subscriber 1 and 2 of the TI cloud. And the enhanced survivability node will be always the tertiary node in the call manager group. I like to re-emphasize here that the enhanced survivability node can be added only as the tertiary node in the call manager group. And as previously mentioned, a continuous database sync happens between the publisher to the enhanced survivability node during the normal functioning of the cluster. And a few requirements like this feature requires the round trip delay between the enhanced survivability node and the publisher to be 200 milliseconds or less. And the next and the final point is a very critical point that I would like to mention here. We should understand that it is the responsibility of the partner or the customer to design and configure the system in such a way that during an outage, the device's third-party integration and PSTN are configured in such a way that it successfully fail over to the enhanced survivability node, and also the call routing, everything is in place for the calls to work as well. Now going to the next slide, which is the partner and customer responsibility, right? This is the so there is more detailed partner customer responsibility, which is mentioned in our documentation, which is published in help.webex. Some of the key ones I would like to highlight here is the first one is the customer's responsibility to procure, manage and monitor all the hardware required to host the enhanced survivability node or deploy the enhanced survivability node. It also means that they need to make sure that the right ESXi versions is installed in the VMwares, the VMwares are licensed, and all those are the customer or partner's responsibility. Now, since as we all know, the enhanced survivability node is deployed in the customer's data center, it is important that the customer allows a list of firewall ports or the IP addresses that we publish. Basically, we give it out as part of the enhanced survivability node installation document. That needs to be opened on the firewall on their side. So this enables the enhanced survivability node to talk to the publisher or, in the DI cloud, basically. So until and unless these ports are opened on the customer side firewall, the sync or the connectivity will not be established. It's also the responsibility of the partner or customer to add and activate enhanced survivability node from the control hub, which I will be showing later in the demo. How do we do that? And as mentioned earlier, it's again very critical that the partner or customer should design and configure the system in such a way that the failover happens for that site to the enhanced survivability node, and all the calling features are still maintained. The final point, it is required for the enhanced survivability node to be running in the same version as the call manager publisher, which is running in the dedicated instance. This is a prerequisite. And hence, when Cisco plans the upgrades of the cluster in dedicated instance, it is required for the partner or customer to do the upgrades for the enhanced survivability node as well. So even though the upgrade process is orchestrated from the publisher and the cloud, we would need the customer to upload the call manager ISO in their local SFTP server, from where the enhanced survivability node can pick that up for the upgrades. This is basically because we don't want to be pushing a 4 GB or a 5 GB file from the publisher through the peering link to the enhanced survivability nodes, which will take up a lot of bandwidth. It's as simple as that, but that's where we need the partner or the customer's engagement during the upgrade process. Now moving to the next slide, I like to call out some key features which are supported in the enhanced survivability node. So the first one, as mentioned earlier, all the call control features supported by a subscriber is supported by the enhanced survivability node as well, because it's just an extension. It's a tweak of the subscriber node. You can consider it a subscriber node which is deployed in the customer's premise. And all the extension calling, such as your intra-site, inter-site, PSTN calls, your emergency calls, all will be supported by the enhanced survivability node. The only difference is that all the devices which are registered within an enhanced survivability node can call each other directly. But for any inter-site calls or PSTN calls or emergency calls, you would need to deploy a local gateway which is connected to the enhanced survivability node, and all the calls will be routed through the local PSTN gateway. And that's a kind of a prerequisite for this feature. And as the PSTN, the E911 calls remains the same, where we support E911 calls. It's just that it uses the local PSTN gateway for the routing. Now, coming to the user-facing features, so this is critical, right? So during a survivability event or an outage, the user-facing features can be modified in the when they're registered to the enhancer. Now, what are the user-facing features? The user-facing features are typically characterized by the fact that the user can enable or disable a feature directly from a phone by pressing one or more buttons. So as opposed to changing it in the WebEx, in the GUI, right, in the of the call manager. So also to call out here, the enhanced survivability node call manager GUI is a read-only, where we don't allow any write operations during the outage, or it doesn't allow any write operations. It's a read-only page. So the few of the calling features that are supported today is call forward all, privacy enable disable. We have not disturb enable disable. Then the Cisco extension mobility login logout, and then the hunt group login logout, and a few more which is documented in our documentation, which are the user facing features. The one thing I would like to call out here is that even though we allow the write operations for these features from the devices, once the outage is over and the enhanced survivability node connects back to the publisher, all these configurations will be lost. So we need to remember that there is no sync back happening from the enhanced survivability node to the publisher, but it's always the publisher to the enhanced survivability node. It's a one-way sync always. And for the final point, as mentioned earlier, the third-party integrations are supported with SIP and CTI are supported with enhanced survivability node. It's the responsibility of the partner customer or the tool to support the tertiary or the fallback or the failover to the enhanced survivability node capability for functionality. Now, going to the next slide. So talking about the supported endpoints, all phone models which are supported in Call Manager version 14 SU3 are supported by the enhanced survivability node as well. The key point that we need to remember here is that the endpoints should support the tertiary node fallback. So that is one thing that we should keep in mind. And all SIP trunks, gateway models, cubes are whatever is supported by the version 14 call manager is supported by the enhanced survivability node as well. Again, I would like to call out here, it is supported, but at the same time during an outage, the customer, the partner should make sure that these gateways or the cubes are reachable from the enhanced survivability node. So the reachability is something that the partner or the customer should make sure. And finally, for the soft clients, we support Jabber and WebEx app. And both these clients are supported with the enhanced survivability node. And for clients which use iPhone, iPad, where the APNS will not work during an outage, we have a feature, local push notification, which needs to be configured. And using that, the iPhone and the iPad will get the push notification, Apple push notification. Now, going to how to order the enhanced survivability dedicated instance. So enhanced survivability is ordered per dedicated instance region, and it is not mandatory to order enhanced survivability queue for all the DI regions purchased. So to make it clear, it is the number of regions for which the enhanced survivability feature is actually required, a subset of regions of the DI which you require the enhanced survivability feature. So when enhanced survivability is purchased and it is enabled for a particular dedicated instance region from the control hub, which I'll be showing in the demo, each UCM cluster within that region can add up to 8 enhanced survivability nodes. Now, for example, let's say the DI region has 2 UCM clusters, and you have enabled an enhanced survivability for that region, then a total of 16 enhanced survivability nodes, 8 on each cluster, can be enabled. Um, and pretty much these are the SKU names and the list price for this feature for the named user and enterprise agreement. Yeah. Going to the deployment workflow. The enhanced survivability node activation process is a 4-step process. On a high level, it's a 4-step process where all these steps I will be showing it in the demo as well. But let me just brief you here, where step 1 is to basically, once you purchase the enhanced survivability feature, you go to Control Hub and enable the enhanced survivability feature for that particular DI region. So once you enable the feature in the dedicated instance region, you can, when you go to the dedicated instance manage tab for that region, all the publisher will have the tile enhanced survivability shown. And there you, as part of step 2, you add the enhanced survivability nodes. So you can add up to 8 survivability nodes per cluster. And when you add the nodes, it gives you a list of host name and IP addresses, which can be exported out of the Control Hub. And you go back to your, and the customer would need to install the call manager in their premise with those details, and then come back to Control Hub and activate the enhanced survivability node. So all this I will be showing in a demo post this. And once the activation is completed successfully from Control Hub, a complete database sync happens from the publisher to your enhanced survivability node. It takes approximately 30 minutes to 2 hours, depending on the size of the data that is there in the cluster. Now, let me quickly show you a demo. Just give me a minute when I share the screen. Okay. I hope you're all able to see my share. So yeah, so once you have the SKU purchased, if you go to calling, dedicated instance, and you have the enhanced survivability tab that shows up once a SKU is added. So in this case, 4 quantity has been purchased in CCW. So there are 4 to be enabled. And these are the 4 regions dedicated instances enabled for by this organization. So I'm going to go ahead and enable it for Americas. So now an enhanced survivability is enabled for Americas region. Now, when you go to manage and go to Americas region, you have a publisher, a call manager publisher clustered in DI. So here the enhanced survivability tab shows up once you enable it for the particular region. Now, if you have multiple clusters here, you can go to each publisher and add, you can find the enhanced survivability node tile, and then you can add the nodes. Now, when I say add node, the host name is something that Cisco provides, and the IP address is something that the customer would need to provide, saying that these would be the IP addresses with which I'm going to install the enhanced survivability node. It is important that the IP address that you give here is accurate, because you cannot edit it again once you provide the IP address. So you can add multiple nodes as well, up to 8, like I mentioned. You can either add all together, or you can add 2 and then come back and add the remaining. It's all up to you guys. How do you want to do it? But the UX pretty much allows you to do both. So when I say add, it gives a kind of a warning saying that the IP address provided cannot be modified. So make sure that you have the right IP address. So when I say confirm, it basically gives, it's been successfully added, and it gives the unified CM version the publisher is running on. So that's the version that needs to be installed for the survivability node as well. And then what is the OVA size that is used, and what is the domain that has been used, and the host name. So either you can view it from Control Hub, or if you say that you want to export it and provide it to the customer administrator, you can always press the export option here, and pretty much all these details will be can be downloaded using the PDF format as well. So if you go here, this is the feature documentation, and this pretty much talks about all the firewall ports that needs to be opened on the customer site firewall, so that the enhanced survivability node can communicate with the publisher on the dedicated instance. So now that the add node is completed, when you close and come back, you will see that there are two nodes available for activation. So before you do the activation, the customer would need to go and install the call manager. It's basically a call manager publisher. They install a call manager publisher on their site. So for the bootable ISO, it is important, like in CCW, there is email address that you provide for the software links, software downloads. So whatever email address is provided there, and if the subscription has enhanced reliability, the call manager 14SU3 bootable ISO link will be sent to that email address. Using that link, you can download the bootable ISO and install it in the customer's premise. So you deploy a medium OVA and install the call manager as a publisher with the host name and IP address that is provided here. And the other details such as the DNS, NTP, all that will be the customer site details. One more thing I would like to call out here is the DNS server. The enhanced reliability node, when installed as a publisher initially on the customer's premise, the customer's DNS server would need to have a conditional forwarder set to the DI side. So all these are documented clearly, how the conditional forwarders needs to be configured and everything. So basically that needs to be done, because when the enhanced reliability node is being installed with this host name and IP address, it would need the DNS resolution to happen. So once the enhanced reliability node is installed as a publisher in the customer's site, then you would need to come back to the control hub and say activate. So when I click on activate, it basically says that it asks you it gives you a prompt to say that I have installed the unified CM with the given host name and IP address. So once you check that, it asks for the OS admin username and password that you provided during the publisher's installation. And these proxy settings are for the enhanced reliability node to reach out to the Cisco cloud. It can be as simple as the node can be directly reaching these internet without any proxy in between, or there could be some scenarios where a proxy is there between. If in that case, you would need to give the proxy details by clicking on this radio button. So for now, where you give the proxy URL, and if the proxy is authenticated, you give the username password as well. In my case, I'm going to say that there is no proxy, and the node that was installed on the customer's premise can directly reach the internet. So now when I say activate, it asks for a confirmation, and what happens on the background during this activation process is the publisher that was installed on the customer's premise will be converted into an enhanced reliability. So this is all happening through an workflow that is triggered from the control hub from Cisco's side, where we get into the publisher node that is deployed on the customer's premise. We convert it into a enhanced reliability node and connect it back to the publisher in DI, and update the certificates on the DI cluster with the enhanced reliability nodes details as well. So when any certificate update happens, there will be a restart that is required, and all the devices will go for a restart. So it is important that during the activation process that the customer has a maintenance window planned out, or it's during weekend or a non-business hours, because the phones will go for a restart when the certificates are being updated. And also, when I hit confirm, so now it says that it takes approximately 2 hours for this process. And it says how much time is there and it's in progress. And it also says pre-check in progress. As part of this activation process of converting the answerability node, we do a set of pre-checks before even converting it. Like, for example, we do a pre-check on the security credentials that was provided. Is it accurate or not? The host name and IP address that was provided, is the answerability node installed with those details? And it also we also check for the version, whether the version that is installed and the publisher version are the same. Is the answerability node having deployed in a medium OVA or some other OVA? And the most important critical thing that we check during the pre-checks is the firewall ports. So we have given the list of firewall ports, and during the conversion, we make sure that all those ports are opened on the customer side firewall. If not, we throw an error here, mentioning which ports are not opened from the customer side, and the customer would need to basically go and open those ports on their side and come and re-trigger the activation from the control hub. So now if you see, it's basically activation in progress, and view details will give you the details of the steps where it has been running. And in case of any error that is seen, you will see error message here. And when you say view details, it will give you the exact error, what pre-check failed, whether it was a version or the credentials. You can either correct it there, or you can you can go back, make the changes in your system, and then come back and re-trigger the activation again. So this is the activation process from Control Hub. So now let's assume that all the activations have been completed successfully, and now the answerability node has synced all the details from the publisher into the into it. And now let me show you outage scenario. Yeah. I hope you can see the share. Yeah. Okay. So now I'm going to show you a scenario where I will log into the publisher. And I have two phones which are registered to the publisher and the subscriber. So this is phone 1. And if you see here, it is basically active in the publisher node. And when you go to the publisher and see in phones, those phones are registered to the publisher. Usually in a production system, we don't register to the publisher, but for the demo purpose, we are using this. Otherwise, it will be the two subscribers, which should be the primary and secondary tier. So here you see two phones are registered to the publisher. And as I mentioned in the call manager group, it is important that the tertiary node is added as an answerability node. In this case, the 40.18.9.20 is the answerability node. Now what I'm going to do is, I showed you the phone. Now I'm going to create an outage event, right? So in this case, I'm going to remove the network settings from the publisher. And the subscriber. So I'm just kind of creating an outage scenario where the devices cannot reach the both the publisher and the subscriber node in the TI cloud as the network connectivity is lost. Now we should see that in approximately a minute or two, all the phones that were registered to the publisher will go unregistered, and those devices will basically fall back or fail over to the enhanced survivability node. So that takes some time. Now the publisher has lost connectivity. So now we can log into the enhanced survivability node. This is the enhanced survivability node GUI. So now the enhanced survivability node, to that I'm able to log in. And as I mentioned earlier, all the operations in this will be a read only, and you cannot do any write operations. Now, if you see, these two phones have fallen back to the SN, which is the enhanced survivability node now. It's registered. It just takes a few seconds for it to, it does a restart and it fails over to the enhanced survivability node. Now, when I refresh the phone's page, you can see that the active is actually now with the TFTP3, which is the enhanced survivability node. Now, these two phones can basically call each other over the enhanced survivability node. And that's pretty much it I had from the demo perspective.
Excellent stuff. Thank you, buddy. What a great demo for everyone watching, and hopefully that's given you a really clear understanding of how this capability works and what it delivers. I don't think there's any outstanding questions. There was just one asked throughout the thing, throughout the session, which Salini answered. So thank you for that. We'll hold and keep the call open for a couple more minutes. So if you do have any questions based upon what you've seen, please feel free to put them. And before I can even finish my sentence, there's a question for you guys. Thanks, Angelo, for the question. Just to call out as well, in the chat window, there was a link to Slido. So if you wouldn't mind just giving us your thoughts for a couple of minutes for these guys to help shape where the product is going in the future, that will be incredibly useful. So yeah, if you could just turn your attentions to Slido while that's being answered, then we should be all good. The Slido will stay open, so if you want to do it after the call, please feel free as well. But if there's no further questions, then we shall give all of our participants about 20 minutes of their time back, which I'm sure they're grateful for in this world of back-to-back calls all day, and also means that that you guys can get off for the evening to the rest of your evenings. They join us from India, so it's a bit later in the evenings there. So thank you guys for joining into your evening, much appreciated, and a good session. And with that, I wish our audience a great rest of your day. And we'll see you next Tuesday. Yes, next Tuesday for the contact center update. So thanks again and have a great rest of your day.